residential users. So I know, Lisa, you had sent me the study that Ty and Bond, I think it was Ty and Bond, yeah, had done on the rate increases. So I'm just looking, so our current rate is 630
Yeah.
for residential. Should threw me off for a little bit because, like, unless I'm reading this report wrong, it looked like they had FY26, like we're already at that. But we'd have to go up for FY27. Sorry, I don't know if like the last meeting you guys just happened to round up or if I'm just reading this wrong. See how. Yeah, because FY26.
That's what we're going into, so.
Yeah, but that's
We're
what
already past that, so. I don't know what you had for a thought, but I was thinking 660, so it wouldn't be too much. But I don't know what your thought is on it.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like we're a little bit ahead, but also, you know,
We're not.
Well, from what they did the study at.
Right, but in reality,
In reality, also, the study didn't, factor in, there's been a lot of changes and costs that, this study was done, 2018, 2019?
2021.
21. So, 4 years ago, a lot has happened that I don't think they planned for. I mean, obviously, we definitely have to go up. You were thinking 660?
that wouldn't be too much of a jump, but I mean,
So it'd be,
you
yeah,
can
about
throw
30.
something out there.
$30 jump. Do we know what the rates were offhand for 24?
So, in 24, it was 585 per EDU. That was what it was, and that was. Wait a second.
So about a $45 increase.
I don't know if that's correct, I think it was 570, I'm sorry, it was 570.
Okay, so $60.
So, yeah, it was 570 in FY24, so when it went to 630, it was a $60 per EDU increase.
So that was about 10%.
Yeah. So if we do. That's why I don't do math. Our budget. So that's one of the things that concerns me is, just being able to make sure, we get like another one of these big projects, we're gonna be able to afford it.
We've got a lot of big projects coming.
Right, and that's a concern in part is having the money for those. I realize I don't wanna make things harder for people, but at the same time, we gotta be able to upkeep everything there, otherwise then we're gonna be turning around going to town meeting and asking for it to come from taxpayers, which creates its own problems. I mean, I would say maybe. So that was what, 10% increase last year? Maybe meet and kind of go in the middle, maybe, so I know you said 660, maybe do, like 670, kind of meet in the middle.
As long as it's an even amount, because the treasurer doesn't like to have change.
Right, yeah.
I think so.
Yeah, that
You-
makes total
So when we
sense.
divide it in half,
Yeah,
it's an even amount.
so then,
And that's it too, cause it's
Three
divided up
thirty-five.
into two bills.
okay, so yeah, so if we did 670, that'd be 335 per bill.
So that should work.
Okay, so that'd be, the residential rate would be 670 for the year.
And then they just, average out the other billing. Everything is billed by EDUs.
Oh,
So
okay.
it's rounded out to EDUs when she does the other billing.
Okay. So then that rate applies for the commercial, just,
Right.
all right.
So, Mr. Chairman, if I may, thank you, Mr. Chairman. You know, this is a very tough decision for the board, obviously, this is a very tough decision. You know, as the chairman had indicated, you know, we went to town meeting last year, we were successfully able to get some free cash to take care of some of the deferred maintenance, capital projects down there, but that has not even hit the tip of the iceberg. There's a lot of stuff down there that needs to be addressed, that is old, that has been deferred maintenance for years upon years upon years, that is going to come to a head sooner rather than later, and it's gonna cost money to fix and to maintain. And so last year's thought was, I know we went asking for money at the town meeting for free cash, but that was a strategic move that we did to try to help build your guys' retained earnings. And we did that because we were advocating for that because we need you guys to have some retained earnings to be able to address these projects and not always have to use your retained earnings to balance your books. Because when we try to just do that aspect of it, you're losing out on addressing your capital
Right.
needs. And so this study from Ty and Bond had suggested, I think 15 or 20% increases, you know, somewhere in that ballpark, over the course of, you know, starting it back, you know, in 2021. So now we're playing catch-up, so the increases have to be even higher.
Okay.
Than what the study had indicated. So I understand, you know, that there's a, you know, that there's some, you know, pause to looking at raising, you know, the rates, and I understand, you know, people are on a very fixed income, but there's gonna be even more problems if these capital projects are not addressed, and maintenance is not taken care of. So I just wanted to, you know, preface that to the board. Obviously, it's ultimately the board's decision, and you know, I look forward to working with the board.
Okay, so, I mean, and maybe I'm, you know, kind of reading this, I kind of looked through the, report that, Lisa had sent from Ty and Bond, so I was kind of under the impression that, near the end of the report, they had, maintained existing rate structure, so that, I didn't know if that was like their recommendation for how much we should be increasing over the years to
Yeah.
kind of.
Well, the problem was, I don't think that when the report came out, that those rates were instituted at the time.
Oh, okay.
So now you've gotta play catch-up to
Oh, okay.
when those rates were not instituted by the board back then, so now the problem has, you know, kind of grown.
Right. I think one of the things I think we should start looking at is kind of like a almost capital improvement plan. So we can kind of, I realize things are gonna break that we have no control over, but, you know, like Jim had said, there are things that we know are gonna need to get replaced, so, kind of start looking at those so we can kind of plan for them versus waiting for it to break and then figuring it out. I definitely, you know, for next year would like to go a little deeper into the rates. I don't know how much this study from Ty and Bond had cost.
I'm not sure, that was done before I was here, but, you know, it may not be a bad idea to see if they could, you know, update the study for next year, you know?
Oh, okay. Anybody know roughly how much, even a ballpark,
Oh my God, I know it was a few $1,000s, I mean, I
It
think
was
it,
more than a few $1,000s.
yeah, I think it was around $12,000 or something
Oh,
like
okay.
that, or 10,
I think you should
12,000.
check, but I thought it was a heck of a lot more than that.
Yeah, I could try to find out.
yeah, if you could, I'd be real curious, to see how
Maybe an
much.
update wouldn't cost as much because they did a lot of the.
Yeah, they got all the legwork done, they
Yeah.
just gotta adjust some numbers.
I don't know if I mean, it was a certain person that worked for them that handled it. I don't know if that same person is still on staff. They might just assign it to someone else, but
That would
if
be
it was
good.
just a
Yeah.
matter of updating the existing study that was done in 2021.
Yeah, I would-
It wouldn't cost as
Well,
much.
for the next, our next meeting, if you can find out how much we paid for that study, we can kind of go from there. I mean, I don't imagine it's gonna cost more than when they did it, or, alright, so we need a motion to vote on the rates.
You wanna go at that rate, or
Yeah, it's tough, because
does Jim have a figure he'd like to throw
Then
out?
I'd have to calculate the equivalent for the commercial rates, like with the increase, because I don't have it in front of me, but I have the commercial rates for FY25, and then you'd have to adjust the commercial rates to go be in line with the increase in the residential rate.
It has to be an EDU. It's all EDUs. When you break it down to build, like the laundromat or something, it's all EDUs, basically. Everybody's billed the same,
Well,
only you're changing yours into gallons.
well, then you have the entities that are billed by the number of people.
That- It's still
It's
supposed to
still
be,
equivalent to the EDU. but-
right.
Oh, yeah, but it's equivalent to an EDU, then it's, whether it's number of people or not, it's still getting converted the same. So I'll make a motion to increase the FY26 sewer rate to $670 a year per EDU.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Mr. Chairman, but before the final vote takes place, I think you just gotta ask for the record to see if there was anybody that submitted any written comments on to Lisa
Oh,
about,
okay.
you know.
Have you gotten any
No,
comments?
No, I checked all my emails, I did not get any comments by email or snail mail.
Okay.
The only thing I got pertaining to the rates was the treasurer of Heritage Village sent me an email yesterday, because she wanted me to let her know when I find out when the new rates are determined, because she was doing the budget for Heritage Village for the year.
Oh,
and she
so
wanted to
just
know
looking
what
for
the
amounts, so they're not waiting
Yeah,
for a bill to
and
show
it
up.
wasn't anything about, voicing an opinion, she just wanted me to let them know, let her know as soon as the rates are determined what they are, so they can budget for it.
Oh, okay. Anybody in the audience have any comments? Nope. Alright. Alright, so motion made and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Alright. So with that, I will take a motion to adjourn the hearing at 9:25.
Okay, I'll
Hey.
second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good to see you guys.